Hi guys, and welcome back to another Dot Race video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 21 and we're continuing on with our World Championship career mode, and it's time for Mugello for round 7. So here we go on board the Aprilia RSGP in one of the most magnificent circuits ever made and ever featured in a MotoGP calendar. I absolutely adore Mugello, and I think pretty much everybody in the world enjoys Mugello. I think it's a wonderful track with lots of undulation, and it's just a wonderful track with different sort of styles of corners, and it suits every bike. There's not really one bike I could say it really struggles with, but I don't know how we're going to cope here today. We don't have the most oomph as the sense of engine speed and maximum torque, but for the time being we did really well last time out in Le Mans, taking the victory for the very first time in MotoGP. So it was a very special occasion for us in the French GP, hoping to ride the momentum and move it into Mugello and have a good result here today. I'm feeling quite confident. I think we can do another good result. Maybe not as good, but maybe the top 5, maybe a podium position. Of course, we've had numerous second places, and we were on a podium streak. We've just invalidated the lap there just before Scarperia turn 10, so we go onto the right hand side. So this lap will not count. However, it is still good to continue nonetheless to understand where our pace is going to be. We did lose about 0.6 of a second up to the second split, which is quite a long time, especially as we now go into Correntallo. We're going to have to try and regain all that time back, and the Aprilia is not the most nimble of motorcycles. It doesn't move as well as, let's say, a Yamaha or a Suzuki, so it's a bit of a tough one, to be honest with you, especially in those tighter sections, especially for Biondetti 1 and Biondetti 2. But now for Bacchini, for the left-hander, we'll get onto the left-hand side of the tyre, bring it on, bring it in straight, and then bring on the acceleration, full acceleration, and they'll get across the line and hopefully have a decent lap time. It won't be perfect. I'm down by 0.8 of a second, not too bad to Miguel Oliveira's lap time as of yet, so just have to lift my microphone up a little bit so I can see the lap time that Miguel Oliveira set. It was a 1:45.911 for the Portuguese rider. There's Taka Nakagami and teammate Aleix Espargaro, both on red sectors currently as things stand. So 2 red sectors for Taka Nakagami and 3 for Aleix Espargaro. Same can be said there for Miguel Oliveira as well. And for Matt Grant, who's the quickest going into turn 4 for Materassi. That is a 0.2 of a second gap into the way of Matt Grant right now, as Rins momentarily went to the top of the timing sheet and then was immediately bettered by Fabio Quartararo. And there is my teammate Aleix Espargaro chucking it in second place as well. So good stuff there for the Aprilia, showing us that we can get the job done as we're going to Arrabbiata 1. Keep on the right hand side of the tyre for Arrabbiata 2, down by half a second to Quartararo's time, which is not that bad, but at the same time we probably need to improve going into Arrabbiata 1 and 2. We ran it a little bit wide just before Pelagio there, a little bit of a mistake coming in for the way of the Aprilia man. The Moto2 World Champion, of course, not impervious to a couple of mistakes every now and again. As we go onto the right hand side for Correntallo for turn 12, still using the medium front and the medium rear. Potentially the soft options could be a good job here when a cloudy sort of circuit right now, as we go a little bit too tight to the apex on Biondetti 2, and that is another lap time that's been scrubbed off the history books. We were down by a second as well, which of course is an improvement because of course on the last lap Fabio Quartararo's lap time of 1:44.936 was not actually applicable yet because he hadn't done it, he hadn't actually completed it. But Miguel Oliveira puts himself back into second position as we go across the line. We only gained 0.4 compared to our previous lap time, so that's not good, and considering we've only done 2 laps so far and both of them have been invalidated, not exactly filling me with confidence, let's be honest. But San Donato now to for the third time of asking. Left hand side, looking on the left hand side of the screen as well actually, Jack Miller, fastest man in the first 2 sectors. Same could say for Jorge Martin, but he just disappeared, or at least he went into the pits. He just gave up on that lap time. That's not a wise decision, but we're down by 1/10 and a bit. Personal best sector for Grant nonetheless, as Valentino Rossi's on the left hand side of your screen there. He's getting some personal best sectors in 19th position right now. Right hand side for Casanova, to the left hand side for Savelli. One of the best combinations of corner ever in the MotoGP calendar. I absolutely adore taking overtakes going into that corner. I mean, same could be said going into Le Mans for turn 2 for the Dunlop curve and the Dunlop chicane. I absolutely love going into that corner and getting some overtakes. A little bit of a mistake there getting on the rumble strip just before Scarperia. Now is Pelagio for the left-hander of turn 11. A little bit better going onto the entry, but still not quite got the speed we'll go straight into qualifying with our heads in our hands and our tail between our legs and see if we can produce something in the qualifying 1 session. Of course, last time out, very barely missed out on a first pole position, but we did have the front row start for the first time in MotoGP history for me, and of course the first time for Aprilia in a long time. So it was a very special one, which resulted in the race victory. So of course it is imperative to have a very good qualifying, especially in a track such as Mugello, because of course San Donato is a difficult corner to get right. Across the line, down by 1.6 seconds. Ouch. So the end of free practice, it is definitely apparent that we are going into qualifying 1. It's now a case of going into there, doing our best and trying to get up with the big boys for qualifying 2. So looking at it, we are dead last. We are absolutely dead last. Myself and Lorenzo Savadori struggling to get the bike working, unlike Aleix Espargaro, who's already got himself up into Q2 and has a chance for pole position. So the same cannot be said for us, but we are here now for qualifying 1. There is Lorenzo Savadori, as mentioned just a moment ago. I'm going to use the soft option front and soft option rear. We seem to get it working in Le Mans, so let's give it another try and see if we can get it to work here in Mugello. As things stand right now, Jorge Martin and Pol Espargaro on board the Repsol Honda. They will both be going up into Q2 and we'll have a chance to get that pole position, or at the very least to qualify on the top 4 rows. We're up by 0.2 of a second in the first sector, so good job coming in from Grant there as he exited Materassi and entered Borgo San Lorenzo. Right hand side now for Casanova and Savelli. Right hand side to the left hand side, nice and tight to the apex. You can run it on the rumble strip there, it's probably not advised, but you can do it. Also just notice Marquez is in this session as well. I expected better from the other Repsol Honda rider as things stand. And we go way too tight to the apex there for Arrabbiata 2, and we have invalidated another lap. That will now be 3 laps out of 4 completed laps that have been invalidated. Big mistakes coming here for the man on board the Aprilia. We did the same thing in Sachsenring last time out in Moto 2 last season ago, and it's happening here in Mugello. Every now and again that just happens to me. I just can't seem to get the bike to stay within the limits, and mistakes are occurring once again. The pressure is on here in Mugello. I think realising how far down we were in the practice sessions, regardless whether we invalidated the lap times or not, has given me a bit of pressure and a bit of sense of urgency now, because we need to get the job done. We have to do better than to be qualifying dead last. You can't win from dead last. I mean, you might be able to in a lower class, but MotoGP, I don't think it's possible. But across the line we'll go. We did lose 0.4 of a second to Jorge Martin, so it wasn't a bad lap, just it was invalidated. So we just need to make sure that we don't invalidate any more laps. Going into San Donato, I do feel rather confident on their brakes going into that first corner. I do think, I mentioned this in the last video, it feels like the update has sort of changed the brakes somewhat. It does feel rather easier to go harder on the brakes without endoing in the sky. However, I don't know if it's a case I've just got a little bit better at the game and I'm just sort of getting more and more used to the Aprilia, but it definitely feels like something has changed, and I'm hoping it's the latter. I'm hoping I have actually improved as a player and as a rider, and I can get the brakes a little bit better going into difficult corners such as Turn 1 and Mugello, San Donato of course. So we're now going to the right hand side for Arrabbiata 1, still got that red sector in our arsenal in that first sector. So we get on the right hand side again. We did lose a whopping amount of time for the second split there, which we still manage to keep the bike on the black stuff. Don't want to be touching the green and the red and the white rumble strips, because of course that will invalidate the lap, so we need to be very careful. Hard on the acceleration now going into Correntallo, hard on the brakes as well, just chucking it in there onto the right hand side of the tyre, just trying to brake gently going in there, as well as Alex Marquez has just moved the benchmark. It's a 1:44.835 coming in for the way of one of the Marquez brothers, and the other Marquez brothers right there in second place right now. And look how far down we were going into Biondetti 2 there. Difficult situation for the Noale factory right now. Exiting Boccini, this is still not going to save us. We need an absolute rocket ship to get across the line to save a couple of tenths of a second, but across the line we'll go. Definitely not enough. I tell you what guys, I'm getting a little bit nervous. I'm expecting this video maybe not to be as long as I thought it would have been, because I expect us to go into qualifying 2, but look how hard we were braking for San Donato into Turn 1. We will have 2 more attempts at this, and we're probably going to understand pretty quickly if we can get this job done or not, and otherwise it's going to be a very tough situation for the Grand Prix tonight at 8 PM. So guys, if you're not sure of how I do these things around here, we do the qualifying and the practice sessions at 4 PM, and the Grand Prix will be released on the same day at 8 PM. So make sure you like, comment and subscribe for this video to make sure you're prepared for the next video at 8 PM. But on the right hand side we'll go for Casanova, chuck it onto the left hand side for Cervelli, nice and tight to the apex somewhat as we got a little bit wide on the exit, but we didn't do too bad going into that corner. Now we're tight to the apex once again for Arrabbiata, begin to line the motorcycle up to shift up to second and then hold it onto the right hand side. Oh, I can't believe it validated it again. We were so tight to the apex there, I thought we'd have the job done there going into Arrabbiata too, but mistakes have been made once again. Can you believe it? We are in 10th position, which will result in 20th place. It's completely unacceptable. We have completely scuppered our chances of doing something good here today. This is concerning. Massively, massively concerning, because it's Qatar all over again. It's these sort of tracks, apparently, that is not good for us. Qatar, Mugello, very similar styles of tracks, very similar in the sense of the corners and the styles of braking and short corners, long corners. This is a similar track, and this is our nightmare once again. I'm a little bit nervous now. We're on soft front and soft rear. The left hand side of the soft rear is looking very, very bleak, so we're just going to have to do everything we can now to make sure we can qualify a little bit better than 20th position. So hard on the brakes we'll go for San Donato. That right yellow Dying Easy boot just touching the tarmac there, just helping us find the balance going into the corner. As we now go into San Donato, escape from San Donato, now into Luco, continue to move the motorcycle, chuck it on the right hand side for Poggio Secco, nice and tight apex there, loving that one, bring on the upshifts, nice and gentle, a little bit of a wheelie there but it'll still be okay. As we now go hard on the brakes for Matarasi. Maybe this video will be a bit longer than I expected, maybe there's a bit of life left still in the 27-year-old man from Warrington. Can we get the job done? Hard on the brakes we'll go for the right-hander of Casanova, a little bit wide, not as tight as I would have wanted it, but now into Cervelli, not so bad. Up by 2.5 tenths of a second compared to our best lap time on the second lap of this qualifying 2 session. Excuse me, qualifying 1 session, getting way ahead of myself there. Right hand side we'll go, we're down by half a second. We need to be absolutely impervious from this point onwards to get the perfect lap time in. Alex Marquez, Franco Morbidelli are your favourites right now to go on through. Who's going to be there? I just noticed Joan Mir is in this session as well. Not sure why Joan Mir's still in here as well. He's gone into the pits on the final lap, so Joan Mir will be starting from no better than 18th place on the grid. We might have a chance to get ahead of the world champion. Well, here we go on the left-hand side for Biondetti 1, to the right for Biondetti 2. We're down by 8.5 tenths per second. We've run it wide. It's not going to be enough. Can you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? We are down way down towards the back of the grid. This is going to be unbelievable. We'll be starting from 20th grid. Oh, we're going to be starting from 21st on the grid. So guys and gals, thank you very much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed. Like, comment and subscribe if you did, and hit the notification bell to be alerted to every single Dot Race video, and I'll see you tonight at 8 PM for the Grand Prix. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more Dot Race content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single Dr. Ace video.